This is what my dissertation did, and this is what I focused on. And I first focused on students who attended HBCUs, HSIs, tribal colleges, who were studying STEM. And that's where my research came from. After I'd done it for years, I realized that it made sense for any student at any institution. It wasn't just students of color. It wasn't just those types of institutions. It just mattered for everybody. So here's kind of what it looks like. And if you can see, the student experience, when a student comes to this campus, okay, there's three things that really matter. What the students bring themselves in terms of cognitive and social attributes, and then what the institution does. The mix of those helps determine whether that student will succeed or not. So what does this mean? On the cognitive side, a student, whatever academic rigor they've had, quality of learning, aptitude, critical thinking, learning skills, time management, whatever they bring there helps or hinders their ability to persist. On the social side, financial issues, educational legacy, did family go? Religious background, maturity, and I'm just skipping some of these, goal commitment, family influences, peer influences, those have a determination on success. Now you mix the academic / cognitive and the social, and that's what brings a student there. For the institution, things kind of fit nicely in recruitment and admissions, student services, academic services, teaching and learning, and financial aid. Now, here's the takeaway. Specifically for faculty and staff here, but I think it's important that the students that are with us get this as well, because it is a two-way street here. Is that when a student comes and goes through the recruitment process and the registration and admission process and shows up, we need to know who they are. We need to know what makes up that student. Because if we do not, how the heck do we know what to do? Well, because that's the way we do it. Okay, what's the graduation rate here? Gets real pretty quick, right? We obviously don't do it well enough. And I'm not trying to make you feel bad. Because again, everyone's in this boat for the most part. Except Harvard, they're not in this boat. Their 4-year graduation rate is 99%. That's sick. And Stanford's probably right there as well. You know, you get students who actually die, you know, and you can't fix that. I don't know how you get 99% over 4 years graduating, but they do. So I don't talk about them very much because they're unrealistic. They are. You know, Stanford, Berkeley, they get 800 requests for admission each year with 1,600 SATs. 800. And they have to turn them away. So what does this mean to us? So here's how I put it. The student experience is like this. And just to clarify the takeaway on that is that you have to know who all your students are and what makes them tick, academically and socially. And for those of you who say, you mean the freshman cohort. No. I mean, you have to know every student and what he or she brings with them in their bag, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Well, how can we possibly know individual students and what they do that? I figure if we've built systems that can pretty effectively track how much they owe us individually, perhaps we can track who they are. It's funny, on the financial, we can do that like that, but this, no, we're not doing that. Okay? So here's what it is. Let me go. Think of it this way as a student. If you are a student and if you're dealing with students. This is the average student at SSU. I know you probably don't call it SSU, sorry. Sac State. Okay? So you've got an average level of cognitive attributes, average social, and the institution has to put an average level of effort in. That's kind of the way. This is a simplistic model, but that's why I built it, so we could understand what the heck's going on. All right? So that's your average student. This is a student who has very high cognitive ability. Okay? Much lower on the social side. Okay? We sometimes have a term for these students. Okay? Anyone know what it is? Antisocial is one? Nerd. They may nerd. And it may not be, but let's call it that for now. Now, on the if we know this as an institution, we can do something about it. Without getting too much into this, it's about social integration to a certain degree. And if we know these students who are bright, do well, and we know that they're here, we can help get them integrated. But we have to know. Kind of the opposite. Very social skilled. Less on the cognitive side. That doesn't mean that they're not smart. It means maybe they're not exercised to do it. So what could we do there? We could put tutoring programs in. We could do a lot of decent things. But we have to know. And just a last example here. Here's a student who kind of has it all. There. They got the cognitive and the social. We love these students. You know why? Because that's how much effort we have to put into it. It's like, get out of the way. I know what I want to do. I'm here because they're making me go here. Okay? That was my middle brother. I'm the youngest. Engineer. Became a senior VP at Motorola. Okay? Always knew. He had a patent before 12th grade. Okay. So I want to show you two things quickly, and I'm cognizant of the time. This is one because this matters here at Sacramento State. What this is we measured students during their first semester and then saw what happened in the second semester. And this is what happened. Those that registered for the second semester, those who left, those who passed, had passing grades, and those who failed. Okay? And it gives us 4 types of students, and this is worth you going with, is that we had the successful persisters. In other words, they passed and they stayed. Makes sense. That's a good thing. Down here, we had those who stayed but failed. In other words, I failed, but dang, I'm in for it. I'm here. And maybe the takeaway for that one is they're failing. What can we do to push them up? Levers. Remember, policy levers. What can we do? Those who did not come back, we have these who are unsuccessful leavers. In other words, they failed and they left. Okay, so they saw the writing on the road. I'm gone. This isn't for me. Which is a sad story. The question for us is, what didn't we do? Could we have done anything? And then the one that is the kicker of all of them, the successful leavers, they pass and they chose to leave. They were doing well here, and we were talking before that this seems to be an issue with some of the students here. They do well, but they transfer out. Now, some people transfer out for the right reasons. Okay? They find that they want to be at a different school, a different program. It's for the positive. Okay? That shouldn't be held against us. They're trying to get to their goal, right? So let's do that. What is problematic are those that leave because they didn't like it. And that's when we have to question, say, those are the students we absolutely do not want to leave. We don't want to lose any students, but we really don't want to lose those students because they're the gift to us. They're doing well. We don't spend much money on them because they probably don't use a tutoring center and things like that, or maybe they're smarter and they do. Anyway, I think that's important. I'm going to skip through some things that you can look at later, but I want to leave you with this if I can get forward. There's just a couple more here. I'm going to leave you with this. And I'll read it to you. This is University of Nebraska at Lincoln. They had this advertisement that they put on buses. They put on their brochures. This is 2006. And it says this. This is what a 1% increase in student retention looks like. While student retention may sound like administrivia, it's far from it. It's about individual students, their potential, and their future, and ours. For each of the past 5 years, UNL has done a 1% better in student retention than the year before. That means 36 more students hung in there to move toward graduation. 180 more between 2000 and 2006. Now, if I'm looking at a piece of paper and I see 36 out of hundreds, if not thousands, I go, big deal. 36. Doesn't sound so good. When I look at those faces, this was life-changing for them. The fact that they completed quite literally, and we overuse the word literally, but this is a good use of it. It literally changed their future, their children's future. It's that whole cycle. You can't take an education away. So, when we talk about increases and how we do at Sacramento State, we don't have to think big numbers all the time. We have to think how we get more of those faces in caps and gowns. So with that, I'll leave you with that, and thanks for your time.